Britain is more than a star on somebody else's flag. I believe that we should be an independent country, trading with Europe, but governing ourselves. As I was saying, I believe we need to be an independent country, trading with Europe, but governing ourselves. Do we want to be governed by people whom we elect and can call to account, and frankly we can throw out if we don't like what they're doing, or do we want to be governed by a qualified majority of 26 other countries and pay countless billions for the privilege? Two years ago, the reputation of our Parliament was pulled through the mire. But I do not believe that the issue that did that, expenses, was the cause. I believe it was the symptom of a contempt that too many people in this country have come to feel for our own Parliament. And that is because Parliament had stopped doing what it says on the tin. It was no longer the place where the country came together to speak. We allowed our timetable to be controlled by the government. There was at least the perception that far too many MPs looked not to their constituents when determining how they should vote, but to the party whips. And above all, we allowed far too many of our laws to be made not in our own democratic parliament, but in a European Union that we cannot control and cannot call to account. Things are now changing. The vote that we are going to have on Monday is different than any other vote we have had in our parliament before, because we are having that vote because of hundreds of thousands of people, such as people here today, who have signed petitions supported by the People's Pledge and others, that it is time for us to have an in-out referendum on Europe. I made a pitch, along with my colleague, David Nuttall, Kelvin Hopkins from Labour, Jim Shannon from the DUP, to an elected committee of backbenchers. And we are in a pitch with people like Sir Malcolm Rifkind and Ming Campbell, who wanted to discuss something different, and we made the case to our colleagues as if we were in a dragon's den, and they agreed that we should debate an in or out referendum on Europe, and that is what we are going to do on Monday. And we have a new generation of MPs. You heard from Priti Patel. You will shortly hear from Dominic Raab, and that new generation looks to people like Peter Bone, who have always put the independence of the backbenchers before the convenience of the executive. And I know each and every one of those colleagues on the panel will make their decision and their own decision as to how they will vote on Monday. And it is time that the people of this country were given a referendum, because people have been made promises about Europe for far too long by far too many parties for far too many years. We've heard that Europe was supposedly going our way, or that we could be in Europe but not run by Europe. But the reality is, those years of deference, when people would just listen to politicians and follow their advice, have well and truly gone. And it is only through having a referendum that we are going to get out of the European Union, that the people are going to express their views. And the one thing I believe has changed today is the first time we are not speaking about if we will have a referendum. We are talking about the when and the wording, and I will be voting for that referendum on Monday.